Hey guys, Ethan's Sessions here. As you can see, I'm kind of in an awkward situation right now. Anyway, today's video is going to be on Max Headroom, specifically the idea of Max Headroom. In case you don't know, he was a fictional character who was supposed to be the world's first completely AI celebrity. He did a campaign for New Coke, which failed really hard, like really hard. And he was only really popular in England, from what I understand. Had a movie based off him. Anyway, he failed. And today we're going to be talking about if the concept itself could be used in 2022 and why I think that it could. So stick with me, guys. I'm going to find a way out of it. Now, the concept of Max Headroom began in the 80s and was rather simple. The world's first AI celebrity. Of course, he wasn't all AI, but the idea was perfect for the time. Everyone was obsessed with technology and very hopeful for the future. Computers like the OG Macintosh and the Commodore 64 made people explore the possibility of widespread technological advancements becoming mainstream. Now, the Max Headroom persona was created solely for MTV as a way to introduce music videos, and was pretty successful as far as people were concerned. The witty banter, the random glitching, and the overall obnoxiousness of the character made him really easy to hate, but even easier to love. The concept ultimately failed and faded into obscurity after a very unsuccessful ad campaign, but I still love watching these older videos as they give you a peek into what comedy was like about 40 years ago. This brings us to the question, can the idea work now that there have been 30 years of technological advancement? Personally, I believe so. In fact, I think it would be beneficial for us in this day and age. Back then, Max was a caricature, a funhouse mirror image of what its creators saw as the typical American celebrity. And while I love those characteristics as much as the next guy, I think that in a day and age where everything in media is skewed, an AI celebrity could be just the thing we need to give us the real stories that we crave. I also believe we currently have the technology, existing in AI apps like Replica. Now, I admit it, I've spent some time using it to gauge how closely it can mirror human speech and pseudo-free thought. And I have to say, it's pretty scary how accurate it can be. I remember when chatbots first emerged and how rough around the edges they were, but I always knew they had potential. Now would be the perfect time to bring Max's raw type of comedy back into modern life. This time, in an actual AI personality. Oh, it feels so good to be out. Anyway, guys, so I guess I want to close this by going in and doing an in-depth analysis as to my theory. Basically, who I think could conduct the AI research and develop the AI behind this modern-day Max Headroom, and who I think would be best suited to do the visuals. Make it look appealing. Try not to be too stereotypical, but try to maintain enough of Max's, persona. Now, we can look at this two different ways, as far as the AI goes. The first is, the fastest learning AI. Personally, I think that the fastest learning AI on the market would be the Google Assistant, at least in widespread use. Why I don't think that's a good idea comes from a moral standpoint. Google is notorious for going in and using your data against you. Just like Facebook. I mean, I would literally trust the devil before I would trust Mark Zuckerberg. As far as animation goes, I think, and this is going to sound crazy, okay, I've just had this idea in my head since I had the idea of this video. Don't ask me why, okay? But I think that it should be Pixar, okay? And I don't mean like the overly cartoonish Pixar. I think that that could work in a weird way. But I have a feeling that if they were up to it, they would be able to go in and essentially create a more photorealistic face and personality behind this theoretical Max Headroom. I have no other option aside from that, at least in the animation department. It's Pixar or nothing. I mean, I could say Disney, but Disney owns Pixar, and Disney owns half of the entertainment industry, so there's not really much wiggle room there. Backtracking to AI, I don't want to sound like too much of a fanboy and say Apple, but that's my first choice. Siri is smart enough to learn from you. She's smart enough to gauge what you like, what you don't like, without stealing your customer data. But for the sake of not being an Apple fanboy, I'm going to propose that perhaps Microsoft would be best suited for making this fictional, theoretical Max Headroom AI. Now, I don't trust Microsoft either. I really don't. But I have to give the devil its due. Microsoft is incredible at what they do. They really are. So in short, I guess I'll end by just summarizing. I think that Max Headroom could be a real thing in 2022. I think that the technology is there. It's showcased through products out on the market, such as the Replica app, and research done by the folks that made Sophia the Robot. If you've never seen Sophia the Robot, it is really terrifying, but exciting at the same time if you're a nerd like me. So I would recommend looking into those videos if you either want to stay up all night in fear or stay up all night in some weird thing of hope. But I think that the technology is there. My candidate for producing the AI is probably going to be Microsoft. I think that they would do a good enough job of making it self-learning, being able to go in and pick out things, distinguish human comedy, and replicate it in a way that's, you know, funny enough. Close to the Max Headroom that we know and love. As far as animation, I think that it should go down to Pixar. No one else has the skills with CGI that Pixar seems to have. And I think, honestly, it's going to sound kiddie, but I think that it would be really, really charming and kind of cute to see like a Max Headroom type character animated in the same style as like, I don't know, any of the Pixar movies. I'm sorry, I blanked there for a second. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I welcome your ideas in the comment. Do you think that I'm crazy for suggesting this idea? Do you think it could work? Do you have any other suggestions as to who could be the AI producer and who could do the animation? Anything that you want to talk about, I invite you to discuss it in the comments. That being said, guys, my name is Ethan. This has been Ethan's Obsessions. Thank you for watching, and I am tuning out. Have a good day.